They were an Amazon FBA offer. We just did a launch with them, and we did $140,000 in revenue in 2 weeks, and a total of $60,000 in cash. I'll go ahead and share my screen quickly. So this was the entire sheet of the how the webinar went. So as you can see, I'll blur all these names, but as you can see, we did $140,000 in rev. Scott, if you can pull up the dashboard and show the cash collected that we did.
And yeah, here's cash collected right here.
Awesome. Okay, cool. Yeah, did about 2 weeks. The first day we did $20,000 in cash. So yeah, it's been pretty awesome. We'll kind of run through kind of what we did with the webinar. I have a little Figma board ready. I'll go ahead and share my screen, and then kind of ask you as well, Scott and Colin, what your experience was like throughout the process, kind of what the main things you felt like you got help on was. Obviously, one of the reasons this worked really, really well is because Colin's done a great job at building his brand, right? He's built his profile really, really well. We spent all the ads to this on retargeting, so it's not like a cold webinar like most people do. It's more so like his profile funnel to the webinar. A lot of people came from retargeting to profile visits to profile engagers and so on. So I would almost call it like a profile webinar basically, because a lot of them came from Colin's brand. So just really good job on his end on like building his brand, doing well with content and everything. In terms of the numbers breakdown, what we did is we spent $1,100 on ads. We were running retargeting ads. You can kind of explain this a little bit more in depth, Liam, because I know you were doing the media buying, but we were running retargeting ads to followers, profile engagers, and profile visits, right?
What we were doing with the ads is we were running ads on branded company accounts. So we were running ads on FBA to 100K accounts with Colin's face, but we were running to his actual retargeting audience from his main account, which meant that we could be really aggressive with our marketing without risking getting his ad account on his main band. So we're really aggressive with that. We only spent 1.1K. We're able to get 120. I mean, it was like what 140K.
I'll just go through numbers. We can explain a little bit more detail after. But we spent 1.1K on ads. So 140K in rev, that basically is like 127 extra hours on rev, 60K in cash, so about 60 extra hours on cash, right? So very, very good numbers. But again, just comes from having like a really, really good foundation and being able to retarget that, which is why, most people, they need to focus on building their brand with content, with profile visit ads, and then they can go ahead and do one of these webinars extremely profitable by running ads, right? So we had 400 total people who signed up for the events from running the retargeting ads. From there, we had 232 total show ups, and Setter was dialing leads to remind them before the event. Objection on those who attended the webinar but didn't book and booked them in. But towards the end of the webinar, we had 129 people, so quite a good rate. I think the delivery of the webinar on your guys' end was fucking wonderful. We'll go through the slides in a bit and how that was executed on. But yeah, 129, we basically fucking booked 103, right? So that's almost, I think that's like an 80% webinar, like the people that were at the webinar until the end, so people who booked calls, $10 cost per call, and we collected $1,366. Like that was rev per call, so cash per call about $600. So the ROAS on that is pretty insane. So which led to the 140K week, and 140K in 2 weeks, and 60K cash in 2 weeks. In terms of the ads, let me again go a little bit more in depth just on what type of creatives we ran, why we ran those types of creatives, and like what placement we did, just kind of the strategy overall.
Yeah, so the strategy was 2 different campaigns. I think we were spending max 200 a day. One campaign was retargeting profile visits and engagers. One campaign was retargeting followers. The one that was targeting profile visits and engagers performed better because, of course, those people are more active than just followers. So that's why it performed better. It performed better by over 2x. And then as for the ad creatives, we only ran 3 ad creatives. 3 ad creatives, several different angles. One angle, which was really good, I think it was the best performing, was actually showing Colin's tax return, because that's something people can't do. But we literally showed his tax return to prove how much he does with Amazon. And then another angle was his last ever event. So we were going really hard on scarcity, and we were calling this the last Amazon event, using results from people from the prior event. And then that's the main part of it. And we were targeting only the big 4, so US, Canada, Australia, and UK. But we were doing US in a separate ad set, which means that, because otherwise it would have not hit the US much. So that's a quick rundown on what we're doing with the ads.
Beautiful, yeah. So it's pretty. I mean, obviously, we didn't need that many ad creatives because we knew, right? Like, we're targeting a very, very warm audience here. We didn't need that much ad spend. Next time, we'll probably go more aggressive with more ad spend, and run some ads to cold traffic as well. But yeah, overall, ad performance really, really good. From there, the actual like webinar itself. Um, if you're going to kind of run through what we did with the landing page, the registration page, and the email sequence, what we did there, why we did that, Liam, and then I'll have kind of Scott and Colin go through the slides and how the actual webinar itself went.
Yeah, so show up rate was super important from the beginning. So we actually had a 40-step email and SMS sequence leading up to the event to remind people of it. That's how we had so many people use the ad event, because ad event, that's not just signups, that's people adding it to their Google Calendar. So we had 400 calendar ads because we were just going so hard and hammering people with email and SMS. And then after the event, we also booked people in through Calendly. So there's also about 10 emails after the event, which were sent out to book people in with Calendly who didn't book on the event. As for the landing page, it was very simple. It's just landing page with a VSL about the webinar, just to sell the webinar a little bit, and then a countdown to scarcity.
The interesting thing about email is the more emails we do, the more open rate goes up. So that's why we went so heavy on them. The same thing you have to do with, with show up, especially for this style of funnel, is the more touch points, the better, right? So that one, in terms of the landing itself, very, very clean. You can kind of explain how you went about the landing page, but obviously certain things on the countdown, on how we actually did on how the landing page was structured. It's quite clear, but we did the market research to do a really, really clear headline. Then you have the VSL here, and then claim your free spot. Is there anything you want to add to that, Liam?
Yeah, it just goes into the type form, and then when they fill in the type form, it will redirect them to the post booking page and fire as a custom event with the pixel so that the ads are really optimized. And then a few other things happen when they register with the type form, puts them in the CRM, and then starts all the emails and the SMS and everything like that. Works really well. And that's the main thing with the setup for the landing page. Then we have the post registration page. It's all very scarcity based. You can see there's lots of countdown timers, lots of things about how many people have signed up, how many people have registered. And the biggest thing on the post registration page was just making sure people added it to their calendar. If people add it to their calendar, it's a very high likelihood of show up.
I want to ask, very good breakdown by the way. Colin, Scott, obviously you guys this is not your first time doing an event, right? You've done them before. What are some of the optimizations that we made on this webinar, webinar that we did compared to the last ones?
Mine is definitely the 40-step email sequence. That was huge. But you guys did everything, man. I mean, you did everything from email sequence. You guys set up the type form, ad event, landing page, edited the VSL, optimized that.
Yeah, you guys literally ran everything from A to Z. And the biggest thing that I noticed that you guys hammered in on was you guys crushed the fucking crushed the ads and the retargeting. That was amazing. That was a game changer from the last ones because we had another guy running ads and they were dog shit. And then, yeah, you guys did everything. You guys were rock stars the whole time. So super happy with everything that you guys did.
Yeah,
Awesome.
100%. Like from a client perspective, it was extremely, extremely easy, quick communication. Like Colin said, you guys are absolute rock stars.
Yeah.
What about the webinar itself, like the actual slides and the presentation that you held?
It's pretty much the same, relatively. Maybe a couple little tweaks.
We did do one call with Liam. He really helped us. I think we were kind of in the position of giving more information, and we had one call with Liam where he really have us drive home, some of the emotional and the pain points as well, which I think really kept the retention up to the end. And we worked a lot at the end on the pitch section. So before in our past webinars, we had a very small pitch section, like maybe 5 minutes. But the biggest change that Liam made for us is we made it like 20, 30 minutes long. It was a lot longer.
Yeah, we increased our pitch and kind of decreased our, I guess, story and filler in between, which was, I think ultimately. And also, Liam kind of gave us the idea of bringing in one of our clients that was crushing it. And we had one of our best clients come on, talk about all the success that he's had in the program, which I think ultimately, I already know it was, because all the calls we had, people were like, "Well, like the guy's name is Rob. Like, I really liked how Rob talked about this," and like everybody liked that we had a client that had seen success in the program that was on the webinar. So that was Liam's idea, which we didn't really even think about until he said it, and I was like, "Fuck yeah, that's a great idea, man." So without that, I think that was a game changer as well.
Yeah, because that's because it's all about trust and social proof.
Yeah.
Right, awesome. Do you guys have kind of like the stats of like what you did last webinar? Do you remember?
Yep. You got those on your computer there, Scotty?
So I mean, we did one in August, which was a pretty big failure. I think we had done only, well, I want to say like 25 or 30,000 in revenue. But we think that was, you know, kind of due to the timing of it, like maybe in summer, but we had done one previously. Our previous biggest webinar was 120,000 roughly in revenue. So we beat this one by a good amount.
Awesome, cool. 25, 30. What do you obviously like timing is one thing of like August, but it was like obviously it's like almost like a 4 times as big difference. I think almost like 5 times. No, it's 25. Yeah, 5 times as big difference, right?
Right.
How much cash did you guys do on like the 25, 30 one? Do you guys know?
Probably around 8,000.
Yeah, I don't even know. We just kind of considered it a wash and didn't really pay too much attention.
Yeah, I mean, cash, yeah, that's not even including the advertising costs and whatnot. It was pretty bad. Like compared to that webinar to this one, it was like you said, 4 or 5 times the revenue in cash.
Awesome. Do you guys know the ad spend you had on the one in August?
Well, we had a budget of like 1,000, I think, but it fucking led to nothing. So we just burned like $1,000, I think. It was like 800 or $1,000 or something like that.
Yeah. So you spent basically the same amount then, because we spent 1.1K on this one. So in
Yeah.
both you spent 1K on ads, and now and the last one you guys did like 5K in cash. This one we did 60K in cash. So basically like a 10x increase in cash.
Yeah.
Yeah, essentially.
Yeah, one other thing too, I think one of the most valuable things that we got from you guys is you guys appointed us a closer and a setter. But I mean, the closer was just absolutely phenomenal. He was,
Yeah.
you know, I thought we were pretty good at sales because, you know, we know our product, but the closer was much better than us. And I actually ended up, you know, learning from him too, because I was able to shadow his calls and see the fathoms and whatnot. So it actually changed the way I did my sales calls as well. So that was massively valuable.
Yeah.
I mean he's a beast. I got him from a network of like my sales manager. This guy he's sales coach inside Objection Box, which is like the biggest sales training company for closers. He's the sales coach inside. He runs like a sales team of like an 8-figure a month info business. So
Yeah, it's
he likes to close a little bit, get in the trenches, get his reps up a little bit. So it's good to get him on this offer, and I saw that he crushed it. So
yeah, it was funny because we had invested like 30K into like a sales coach and stuff like that previously. And I was telling my old sales coach, I'm like, yeah, we got this closer that's killing it for us. And he's like, what's his name? I was like, oh, he's an Irish guy named like James Hayes or something. And he's like, oh shit. He's like, that's who taught me how to sell. I was like, oh really? He's like, oh yeah, he's a beast. He's like, how the hell did you guys get him? And I was like, I don't know. I'm like, Liam just gave him to us and like said he was a rock star. And he's like, oh no. He's like, he's good. You know, you got a good closer. So yeah, that was just the connections that you guys brought was amazing as well.
yeah, I'm gonna be traveling with James down here. It's my babe, but he's a savage. Yeah, so it was really fucking good to get him. Setter performed good as well too. He booked like we got out of obviously a lot of the calls were booked in the webinar, but the fact that we got 103 calls booked, also credit some of that to him because he did well.
100%.
What would like obviously you kind of went over it a little bit, but just so to like really nail it down, the webinar you guys did, this obviously we did 10 times as much cash on this webinar than the one in August, than on this entire event. What were like if you were to like narrow it down to like the 3 main differences, what would you say?
Direction, knowledge, experience, connections. Those were the biggest things. Like you connected us to a closer that was a rock star setter. the knowledge and experience to add in a couple for Liam to give us some ideas of like bringing in different students from the past. It was just night and day working with you guys. So yeah, that was the biggest thing that I noticed. I could think of off the top of my head.
Yeah, I think for me, I would have to say just with the Go High Level email automations, the show up rate was amazing. Um, Liam going over us, changing up some of the slides, extending the pitch as well. I think that really helped. And then the close, appointing the closer, and for him to do his thing, and for us to learn from him. I think all those three things combined was really the top three things.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Plus communication. Like the communication was open. It was a super easy to communicate with Liam. Everything was on point. We had calls scheduled. Anytime we need anything, me and Scott would get it done. Liam just ask. He'd get done whatever we needed him to do. So it was great in that regard too.
Yeah, and I'll say too, like obviously we've worked together in the past, and Liam's request was actually that I increase my communication because you guys are always on top of it. You've done nothing but go above and beyond, and I don't feel like we're ever, poking you guys or having to ping you guys. It's you guys are on top of it, and you guys are rock stars.
Awesome, guys. Yeah, I'm glad you guys fucking crushed it on this one as well. So very, very happy. Watched the webinars and the webinar and the execution was fucking good. So love it. Just go a little bit back into the little Figma board that we had, Liam, just for you to kind of a little bit go in depth what you were thinking as you changed some of the slides and what we had in mind with that. Let me see if I can share my screen.
Of course.
I'll pull it up.
I think the biggest thing was the slides was said very well by Colin, which was just they were very information based, and the pitch section, if you go towards the end, Siggy, was so short before, and so on, and it was very feature based. It was like, this is what you get, this is what you get. It was not emotion based. There was no kind of like emotion behind it. So the thing that I did as we moved towards the end, it looks like some of it hasn't loaded, or I think this might be the old one, Scott. But what we did on the new one specifically was a few things. We removed a lot of like the feature stuff of like, this is what you get, this is what you get, this is what you get. And we made it more so about risk reversal, about like this, you haven't taken action yet, like when will you? It was very kind of like pushing them, and it got harder and harder as it went on until, at the very end, we were pushing people really hard. I think we had like 5 CTAs we were sending the Calendly link in chat. That led to us booking 80 calls in about 5 minutes. We had to free up the Calendly 3 times. I remember I was at an event. It booked out in about 30 seconds, and we had to free everything up, and then it booked out another 30 seconds later, and then we did it again. And after the event, we were looking at the calendar for the next 2 weeks, and it's just like no lunch, no dinner, call, 12 hours every single day for Colin and Scott. So we got the closer in, of course, to help out with a lot of those, and he crushed it. And then I think one of the best things we did was actually have a student jump on, because I was thinking, look, these people are so skeptical. If we can have someone like them literally like not just like say on a slide, this client, but literally join the call, unmute, and start talking about his experience for a good, 10-15 minutes, that would be huge. It was literally like a client interview on the event. It was amazing, and everyone was kind of very happy. Another thing that Scott and Colin did really well was they engaged everyone throughout the webinar. They would ask questions, they would ask them to comment things in the chat, and just kept everyone hyped up, kept everyone engaged. We opened a lot of loops, especially by saying things like, we'll explain this later on, and I think we offered to give them some kind of bonus at the end of the event, the product list. So that was another thing we did to really optimize for attention, because we wanted everyone to stay until the end. As you can see, we had a high percentage of people stay until the end through opening the loops and through keeping everyone engaged. And then at the very end of it, I think someone's getting a call, but at the very end of it, we then went really hard with the push and the CTA, and we had about 5 CTAs. We had the client result, and that crushed. That did really well.
And yeah, obviously, from there, we've kind of went over the ads and the ads. You went over the landing page and the post registration page and the email sequence and the actual slideshow itself, Liam. I think the biggest thing as well is just how the sales team that we brought in, just because of connections that we have in the space. I literally put out, I think we did the 20K day, right? And we saw how many calls through it, and we were like, we need to get a closure. because we almost didn't expect this level of volume just based on the past performance. Because the past performance was like you said, you did 5K, now we did 60K. It's over 10x. So like we almost didn't expect it to,
Oh, you guys
especially with
completely
very
blew
little
my
ad spend.
expectations. Yeah.
Yeah, so we almost didn't expect it to happen, like to book that many calls. But as soon as it was like, hey, we need 20K, and we did 20K day, it was like, it was like, hey, Siggy, we need a closer. I text my guy, and he connects me with James next day, and we just get him in, and we had a really, really good process of you introducing every person to James and kind of transferring that trust, and then obviously he did his magic in the actual closing itself. So cool,
Yep.
beautifully done. I don't think there's really anything else on the webinar itself to kind of run through, unless you have anything to add, Liam.
I think it was just everything, every single aspect was just optimized to the highest degree. Like from the ads, landing page, post registration process on the event and after the event. I remember one thing I think a lot of people will want to see is just this. This was the state of the calls after the event, because it's one thing to show the dashboard of Calendly. It's another thing to see, okay, 12, 11 p.m. and then just the amount of calls. I was refreshing my page. There was about 10 coming in every second. It was insane. Just the volume of calls that were being booked from this event at this time. It was huge. And then after the event, you can see we had the setter. He was actually calling people afterwards and booking them in after the event. So that's how we booked about 80 calls on the event, and then we had about 20 come afterwards. And same thing with the registration. We got
so Setter was really like Selson was really fucking dialed as well then, because Setter booked about 3 calls per day, right? So you know, in total we had a $10 cost per call, and at a $600 cash per call. Obviously that turns into fucking great numbers. Let's just kind of finish it up with like, what would you say to anyone who's kind of on the fence?
Yeah, I'm glad you asked. I wanted to add that. Just from my experience, like, you know, anybody who was on the fence about joining Siggy and Liam's program, in my experience, when they say done for you, it's the most done for you program I've ever been a part of. These guys went above and beyond in every single way. Like blew my expectations, not only in communication, results, cash collected, calls, you know, cost per lead with the ads, and just the structure. It didn't feel bootstrapped. It was all very systematic, very clear and laid out for us. So anybody who's on the fence, it's worth every penny. I'm definitely going to be a repeat client moving forward. You know, you guys are rock stars.
Yeah, and from me, pretty much everything Scott said, and I highly recommend investing into utilizing you guys in your services and partnering up if you have a high ticket offer or anything you're wanting to scale. Yeah, you guys were, awesome. I got nothing bad to say at all. You guys are killing it. Super excited to keep growing and progressing with you guys.
Yeah, I also just want to add too that you know, we had started working together before. I had some personal things come up that had to make me, you know, step back from business a little bit, which prolonged, you know, the amount of time that we had to move forward. Siggy and Liam, you guys were both extremely professional about it. You guys, you know, gave me as much time as I needed, and you know, we hop back on after deciding where to pick up, and you guys are just very professional, very flexible, very understanding, and just I genuinely really enjoy both you guys. It's a pleasure to work with both of you guys.
All right, appreciate the interview. Fucking amazing done, like really fucking well done by both of you two. Just to add, you know, call in your brand, very well done, and put a lot of attention into effort into building that. And then yeah, your guys' delivery was good. The fact that you guys have good results, good delivery, you guys know what you're doing, you know, is why this all works, right? So yeah, it was a really pleasant experience. I'm looking forward to crushing it even more down the line. I mean, this is the first one we're doing, and now we have all the data, all the feedback from this one, and
Yeah.
even bigger and better numbers. So let's go.